My guest today is a military veteran who got into real estate investing after his service. He runs it all remotely, never bought a property, and is scaling it to $70,000 a month. Thanks for joining us today, and please welcome to the show, Salvador Gallardo.
If you're investing, investors will.
The podcast for all things real estate investing.
All right, Salvador, it's great having you on Investor 101 today, man. Before we get into any of the real estate stuff, can you tell us a little bit more about who you are, where did you grow up, what was life like, and what kind of kid were you?
Yeah. All right. Name is obviously Salvador Gallardo. I grew up. Actually, I was born in California by San Francisco, and then when I was about, I think, 5 or 6, we ended up moving to Houston, Texas. Lived there for a couple of years. Then from there, we went into Corpus Christi, and then by the time I was in second grade, I was in Ingleside, Texas, which I'm pretty sure nobody has ever heard about. It's a really small town. And then growing up, I really like to spend time just outside playing basketball. I was a very active kid. And then by the time, during that time, my parents were still together. And then by the time I went into sixth grade, I think is when my dad got deported, right? Back to Mexico. So then after that, after my dad got deported, we hit a big financial wall. We just went downhill and just never seemed to stop until we hit rock bottom. And then the house started falling apart that we were living in. Every time it would rain, we had to put out buckets. The plumbing went out. And it was just my mom, so she really couldn't afford anything. And then I was just a kid, just focused on sports, which is low-key kind of bad now that I think about it. And then, yeah, high school was pretty chill. I didn't do much. Like I said, I stayed out of trouble. Actually, I got kicked out of high school. Fun fact. Yeah, it was my senior year. So I guess I bought this truck, right? And apparently there was some kind of pill that was left over by the owner. And then they had the drug dogs go around sniffing. They ended up finding the pill in my truck. They're like, yeah, this is one of the worst drugs you can find. It was you ever heard of Oxy? Yeah, I was like, wow, that is an insane thing to say just because I've never had any issues with anybody. So yeah, I got kicked out. Went into we call it DAP, which is where you send the bad kids, right? So it's where they go. So then I actually ended up graduating early, 3 months early, because they told me that I could finish my school online as fast as possible and then just stop coming. So I did that because I was going to spend 5 months in a school that I didn't belong in. And after that, I signed up for the military, went off to the Navy. Boot camp is ass. Wouldn't recommend it. Right, it just sucks. And then after that, I got stationed in San Diego, did 3 deployments, got out in 2023, and then I actually didn't start wholesaling yet. I actually went to college too, right? College is, I don't know, people love college. Personally, it was not for me. I just couldn't go to class, sit down, listen. I was just school just isn't for me. And then after college, I actually got a construction job. I was working on ropes. I don't know if you ever heard about that. You basically just You're hanging on ropes and you're doing construction. And you could be up to 50 to 100 feet in the air.
This was after the Army?
Yeah, after the Navy, yeah. And then I was like, man, this sucks too. Working a 9 to 5, or I guess I was working 10s. I was like, yeah, this sucks. And I started getting into, I guess, that's when I started researching wholesaling. And then I quit the job and I just put all my effort into that. And then I started off with cold calling, got my first deal. So that I knew this thing is legit. It's not a scam, right? Like most people say. And then from there, I tried SMS Blast, got 3 to 4 deals. And after that, got into PPL. Got a lot of money on PPL, but it did bring me back a lot of money. And then now, since everyone's saying that PPL is dying, I'm running ads and now I'm up to $70K a month. Hopefully looking to expand into 6 figures a month here soon. Trying to build out an insane team and hopefully I can get there.
That's awesome, man. You got a crazy story. I feel like so much has happened. But let's go back a little bit to the Army part. What made you want to go and get drafted? And as a person, what did it teach you about yourself and things that help you today as an investor, wholesaler?
Yeah, so the reason I went in is because my older sister was in and she was, because honestly, and I didn't know what I want to do in my life, right? I was 18. I was like, I have no desire to go here, to go to college, to go straight into, I guess, a trade job. So she was telling me all the benefits and all the cool things she was doing, right? And I was like, oh, it sounds like a great time. Like she was in Spain, she was traveling the world in Europe. So I was like, you know what, I'll do it. So that's what made me join. And then I joined and it was terrible. I didn't like it at all, right? Just like the pay was terrible. I remember when I first joined, I was getting paid like $1,400 a month while living in California. Yeah, I was like, so I was basically just living paycheck to paycheck until I was an E5. It took like 2 years, which is pretty fast for ranking up. But one of the best things it taught me was just discipline, right? Because you have to just get stuff done. Like you can't procrastinate and let it drag on. Once you get told what to do, you got to do it right there and then. And I guess just like my hunger for more, because I was in that environment and I just, like, I saw that everybody was kind of like just, I don't know, like they just always were like, what's the word I'm trying to say? Small minded, right? They just never thought outside of the military. I'm just like, why? Like, there's so much more to life than just being a slave for the government. And
I
yeah,
get that.
that's
Now
basically
tell
all
me,
I learned was like discipline and then just go out there and get it.
no. And those two things are probably the most important things, when it comes to being in this industry and growing in this industry. And, wholesaling is a big part of our industry. For the people who want to get into it or people who think it's saturated, what are your thoughts about wholesaling and the future of it?
I feel like wholesaling is always going to be around. I mean, it's already been around for years, right? Before I was even born, this was happening. And when people say it's oversaturated, I look at it as a positive thing because then there's money in it still. If people are constantly making money in it, then why can't you just come along and start making money? Yeah, it's going to take work, right? It's definitely not going to happen overnight, but there's definitely is a ton of money and it's definitely going to be around like a long time from now. Even if you had to switch into like different exit strategies, like innovations and all this other stuff, wholesaling is always going to be around.
And can you tell us more about your first deal that you got when you started
Yeah, my
wholesaling?
first deal, got her. So I started cold calling and it took me 3 months, right? And I was calling some people's up. I was calling in Phoenix at the time, right? I just felt like, I don't know, Phoenix is a pretty solid market. So I was cold calling. I put a list from X leads and then I put it into my batch dialer and I was just calling. 3 months later, some dude hit me up. He's like, yeah, I don't want to sell. It was honestly not that bad of a house. It was a 4-bed, 2-bath, around like 1,800 square footage. And it needed like maybe like 45 grand of work. So I don't know. The numbers made sense. I offered him, I think it was like 280 and the ARV was like probably like 4 or 5 something. And I made 15 grand off of it.
And how'd you find investors at the time? You said this deal was in Arizona.
Yeah.
Did you have connections already there? Like, how'd you know how to do the whole
No.
process? You've been going at it for 3 months, cold calling, and then the one guy that's ready to sell. Okay, everything is ready. How do I, sign him? How do I find an investor? How do I do that whole process? Because I feel like for people hearing this, want to get into wholesaling, the first step is always the hardest. But once you kind of complete that,
Yeah.
it just gets easier to scale.
So what I did to Dispo was like Facebook groups. Facebook is like honestly the best real estate thing out there because it's free and you can get so much info. So I joined as many Phoenix, Arizona real estate groups. I just posted the deal like every single day, at least once a day until someone like said, yeah, I want this. Yes. Send me a DM, send me an email. Yeah. Facebook today, I feel like is the best way to find cash buyers if you don't have a budget for any type of dispo software because it's free.
It is. It's great for both sides, finding sellers and finding investors. And then, you said that you're generating 70,000 a month wholesaling. How long you been doing this for?
2 years, a little over 2 years now.
2 years. That's a crazy number for a business that you're only in 2 years. Can you break down for us? Is that one big deal a month? Is it several small ones? You operate nationwide. What markets are working best for you? If you could share that with us.
Yes. Honestly, it just depends. I average like 5 to 10 deals a month and some deals are big spread. Some deals are small, right? Like I still get like $2,500 deals every now and then, which is, I mean, I don't mind, right? It's better than nothing. And then the best markets that work for me right now, honestly, Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, solid market. I feel like there's so much investor activity there that it's going to be like impossible not to sell a good deal to anybody there. And then another one, Phoenix, Arizona. Just because I don't know why. I mean, it is a nice city, right? But that city is growing like every single day. And there's so much activity down there too. And there's even like, I guess, like luxury activity there now. I don't know if you heard about that, right? A lot of activity. It's like just like wholesaling luxury real estate. It's happening in Scottsdale. So, and another one,
Scottsdale's a nice market.
yeah, Houston and Dallas. Texas in general is just a good state to wholesale in. I feel like it has good laws, and yeah, it's. I mean, a lot of people live in Texas. There's a lot of properties for sale every single day. And that's mainly where I'm getting my deals nationwide. I get other ones from like in the middle of nowhere, like Nevada, but obviously I can't do much in Nevada because there's not a lot of activity there in the middle of nowhere. But yeah,
Talking about Phoenix, we're generating a lot of leads in Maricopa County. I don't know what's happening down there, but
Phoenix is
a lot of
banging
people
right
want to
now.
sell. Yeah, a lot of people want to sell down there. But, so you're working nationwide. You work with different kinds of investors. What can you tell us that investors are looking for these days? Are they looking for bigger properties, smaller properties, location?
Honestly, location is huge. It's really huge, actually, because like I said, people are now starting to get into the whole like luxury real estate part of things, and I think eventually, because people are planning to knock down old neighborhoods and just build up luxury real estate, which is insane. And there's other investors that don't care about that. They just want to see basically, they just want to see like a 15% return on their investment. And if they can get 15% or higher, they'll probably like 9 times out of 10 take that deal.
And for you as a wholesaler, what are you looking for the second you talk to a seller? What's your process like? You talk to him, you look the address online. Can you give us a little bit more about
The
that?
first thing I always do is I always confirm the ownership, right? I don't want to be talking to someone that's not the owner. And after that, I move right into motivation, because motivation is huge, right? Because if they're not motivated to sell, then you're just going to be wasting your time on the phone for like 30 to hours. But if they have a real like motive to sell, then they'll sell you just about anything. And it's also like, most people think that like you have to be like a salesy person, but honestly, to me, what I found best that worked for me was like just be friendly and like kind of become their friend, build that trust, and then if you manage to do that, then yeah, like I said, they're gonna say just about anything because now they trust you.
Gotcha. No, that's some good tips. And in general, like, what does your day-to-day look like, as a wholesaler, full-time wholesaler? For example, can you walk me through a normal Tuesday,
Normal Tuesday for me, now that I'm at where I'm at, I don't have to spend that much time on the phone anymore, right? Honestly, I wake up, I just check how our marketing is doing, and then from there, I move into our pipeline. And I have like a couple of employees for me, so they really handle all the acquisition side of things, and I really focus on dispo, just because I love dispoing deals. I think it's the best part about this. And then yeah, just make sure that every deal is moving to the pipeline, and then the deals we do have locked up under contract, I'm out here, I guess, finding buyers and making sure that the transaction is smooth, as smooth as possible. And then I do plan to expand, so I do plan to get like a transaction coordinator, just so that I don't got to take care of that anymore. I do plan to get someone to handle all my dispositions for me as well, just so I can kind of in the future just step away and just kind of overlook the entire business.
I get that. That's a great plan. And, it took you 3 months until you got your first deal. A lot of people would have quit, not even waited 3 months, maybe, in a week or 2 weeks. What separates the people, in your opinion, figure it out from the ones who just give up and wash out?
And the people that just figure it out are just people that just want it more, honestly. People come up to me all the time, be like, what's the hardest part about wholesaling? I tell them, the hardest part is not quitting. That is by far the hardest part. If you manage not to quit, it might take 3 months, might take 6 months, might take 2 years before you get a deal. But if you stick to it, I guarantee you that you'll get at least one deal in your lifetime. There's just no way around it.
Yeah. And, you told me before we started talking on this call that you started coaching, you have some students. Are these students new to real estate? And if so, what are the biggest mistakes you're seeing new wholesalers, investors make that helps them get their first deal?
Yeah, so these are completely new. And I think the biggest mistake I've seen is that they're not making any offers, right? And that's huge because like, if you're not making offers, how do you expect to generate income if you're not even putting yourself out there? So Because that is by far the biggest mistake I've seen. It's like, I made all these calls. I'm just like, well, how many offers have you made? None. Like, well, there's a problem. Like, you're not going to make any type of money if you're not like sending out offers weekly, daily. That's just like plain and simple.
That's a good point. No, I totally agree with you. And in your opinion, for people who start, getting into real estate, what's the best piece of advice you have for them that you can share with
Piece
us?
of advice. Honestly,
Like it could be also like as I told you, I saw you on social media. You saying different tips, different tools. Is there? And we spoke a little bit about AI. Is there something that you could also recommend for new investors?
yeah. Honestly, I would recommend implementing AI into some sort of, I guess, lead generation in the future, or even now, because AI is gonna, I feel like, take over here pretty shortly when it comes to lead generation. Because I see all these companies already that are AI based when it comes to like automatic follow ups, which is huge. Because like most deals, if not, I feel like 50 to like 6% of deals are from follow ups, straight up. Right? It takes time because I would love, I would love to get on the phone and close them that day. But sadly, that's not always the case. It takes time. So AI follow-ups are huge. And if you're not good with keeping up, I think implementing that to your business would do wonders because then you'll never miss a follow-up.
And how are you doing your follow ups these days?
AI, yeah. It's huge, man. I'm telling you. It's broken.
Mm-hmm. You have something integrated, or
Yeah, it's integrated into my Go High level. It's pretty nice. It either sends out like which is crazy now because I don't know it's possible. AI will now do outbound calling, which is insane, right? To think about. But they'll call up. Obviously, you can't cold call outbound. That is straight illegal. Don't recommend doing that. But if they're in your pipeline, then you have all the rights to use AI to either text them or do an outbound call.
now, Salvador, you scaled your business quickly in 2 years. But if I had to take that all away from you and just keep you with your wisdom, how would you start if you had to start from scratch tomorrow? What are the 3 first things you would do?
Do I have a budget or just straight from zero?
Okay, so that's a good question. Let's say I give you a budget. Let's say I'll give you 2 scenarios, right? I give you a scenario of a new person who wants to get into industry. So I'll give you, let's say, $5,000, and then I'll give you a scenario, if you can share with us, of an investor of 100,000.
So
What are the 2 ways you
5,000
would approach
Yeah,
that?
I thought that's actually a pretty good amount. Like really good. I would not. If I had 5,000, I probably wouldn't cold call or text blast. I'd probably just buy PPL from a good PPL company. Because on average, when I was buying PPL, I was making like, for every $1,000 I spent, I made like 10 grand, which is an insane ROI. So that's what I would do, honestly. If I had 5 grand to my name, because with ads, you need 5 grand plus. But if I only had 5 grand, I think PPL is probably one of the best things you could do, honestly. And then if I had 100 grand, I'd build a whole entire team out, man, with that. I'd run ads, bring on acquisition managers. Yeah, it's insane. With the 100 grand, you obviously have a lot more play with it because you can start running PPC campaigns, which is, I think, one of the best ways to generate leads these days, just because the quality of the leads are insanely good when you're running ads. And then from there, obviously, I would hire people to take care of the acquisition side of things. And then from there, hire a transaction coordinator, hire a dispo manager, and just oversee the entire business. We honestly wouldn't even need to be a part of it.
What's the most important part of the business, if you had to say?
Lead generation is by far the most important part. Because without that, you're not making anything.
Couldn't agree more, man. And Salvador, you told me a little bit about your story, of how you got into this industry. No one really kind of taught you or helped you get into this. You kind of did it yourself. But if you wish someone had told you on day one something that would have saved you months of pain, what would that have been?
Well, it's tough. If someone would have told me that cold calling is not for the weak, I would have, yeah. Because cold calling, I don't think it's for the weak. If you're a strong-minded individual, I think you'll do just fine. But if you have problem with what people say to you, then you might struggle in this industry. Because I've heard some crazy stuff said to me.
Yeah,
But I think it was a great start. I just move on next day. They don't know me. I don't know them. Just keep pushing.
Exactly. So Salvador, what's next for you? You would say on a business level and on a personal level. You told me a little bit about your coaching business, your wholesaling business. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
5 years from now, I see myself backed out of my wholesale company, just letting it, just overseeing the entire thing. And then hopefully in 5 years from now, I would have changed hundreds and not thousands of people's lives with helping them start wholesaling and scaling their own business. And on a personal side, just being the healthiest, fittest person I could be, because, health is wealth.
I agree, man. And this is something that we started to do now. We call it like the lightning round. I'm gonna ask you a few questions. Don't overthink it. The first thing that comes up to your mind. So first question is best book that changed the way you think. It doesn't even have to be about real estate.
This book, actually never read a book. Not gonna lie, never read a book.
What about podcast or any resource?
No, I swear, no, that's crazy. Now that you mentioned that, I was like, wow, I've never actually sat down and read a book about anything financially.
What about someone that you look up to that you could share with us? Someone, the first person.
My brother-in-law, someone who I'm constantly chasing every day. Yeah.
Who is he? What does he do?
Name's Steven, and he does Airbnb, and he also runs a mentorship, and he is just someone that I thrive to be like, because he is, honestly, yeah, he's pretty great.
That's awesome. All right, biggest myth about wholesaling that drives you crazy?
That we are predatory towards everybody.
All right, next one second. All right. One thing being in the military taught you that more entrepreneurs need?
Discipline and time management.
The market you're most excited about right now?
Phoenix.
And last one, what does freedom actually mean to you?
Freedom is not about the money. It's about the time that you have to do whatever you want with who you want.
That's awesome. Salvador, thank you so much for joining us on Investor 101 today. It was real. It was honest. I think a lot of our wholesalers, investors are going to walk away and take a lot of action from this conversation because, you're really an example of starting from a very crazy upcoming to different careers to doing something that you love now, that you're scaling, that you're growing in. So if people want to connect with you and learn more about you, what's the best way to do that?
On my Instagram. Yeah. It's literally just my name, Salvador Gallardo. Just hit me up on there.
Awesome, man. So thank you again, Salvador, for joining us today. And for whoever watched this and thought this was insightful, entertaining, loves what Salvador said, keep following us on the next episode. Thank you, Salvador.
Always.